town manager report.
You got
You're
it.
on.
Thank you, sir. The Tyngsborough Public Library had their strategic plan approved by the Massachusetts Board of Library Commissioners last month. This was a lengthy collaborative process that was spearheaded by our library director and Board of Library Trustees. If you're interested, you can view the entire strategic plan at tinglib.org. I wanted to just extend a thank you to our HR benefits coordinator, Bridget Bell, for organizing an all-staff team building exercise on Wednesday, November 29th. We had all of our town hall and Tyngsborough Public Library staff together for a series of programs that helped us align our goals and values and build on what is already a very strong team ethic here at Town Hall. I also want to congratulate Board of Health Administrative Assistant Angela Lemire, who was awarded our first Teams Award at the end of November. This award recognizes an employee who goes above and beyond to serve the community and does so while demonstrating a strong commitment to teamwork. Angela was nominated almost unanimously by her peers and by department heads. At the recommendation of Assistant Fire Chief Pat Sands and a panel of current firefighters, I've promoted Kyle Russell and Mike Kiernan to full-time firefighters. Both have served for a number of years as call firefighters in Tyngsborough and will fill existing vacancies within the department. As this board is familiar, our fire department operates on a hybrid mix of full-time firefighters and call firefighters, which allows us flexibility to work the schedule in a way that works for a community our size. We've begun the planning work on the MassWorks grant for the public infrastructure improvements related to the 93 Kendall Road project. As this board will remember, earlier this year, the town was awarded $2 million through MassWorks, which will be used to fund the installation of sidewalks, roadway improvements, and traffic calming measures associated with that new development at 93 Kendall Road. This process will continue to be a partnership between the town and the developer, though the town will assume the lead on procuring the contract for those public improvements. The consultant that's helping us evaluate our practices and roles in the treasurer's office will be on site this Thursday for several hours. The goal of the visit is to identify efficiencies, best practices that can be implemented, and provide clear structure for the various roles in that office. Our IT director, Tom LaFlamme, put together a very comprehensive assessment of the town's current technology infrastructure. The assessment looks at everything from hardware to software, policies to training and staffing concerns. Mr. LaFlamme will present this assessment at a meeting in January. Since some of his recommendations in that report are tied to what you'll see in his fiscal 25 budget request, we'll do them at the same time so that it makes sense. But yeah, it's a very comprehensive assessment. We'll share it ahead of time, and it really, I think, highlights the progress that we've made on our IT infrastructure in the last really 5 years and outlines a clear path for how we need to move forward. I've awarded a contract to K&A for survey and subdivision work at the Winslow School parcel. This is a part of our efforts to subdivide that parcel in order to be compliant with the Mass Historic grant that we received. As this board asked, they'll prepare the new boundaries and plot plan for that A&R request in a manner that creates the smallest allowable new parcel with the minimum frontage. While we have them out there, we're also going to ask them to do some topographical work, which will assist with the ongoing project at the Winslow School, for which town meeting approved $1.5 million. We've kicked off formally planning for the annual town report last week. Just a reminder that department heads, boards, and committees should submit their content to Jackie in our office no later than February 21st. Socotech, which is the design architect on the Winslow School renovation project, has completed the existing conditions phase of their design work, and they're now working on the schematic design phase. In fact, they reached out today to let us know that they'd be on site later this week with the company that will actually move the building when we get to that part of the project. I will be, over the course of the next few months, engaging with the board to see if we can begin to conceptualize some future uses for that building. As we get to a final design, it will be helpful to have a better idea of what the board would like to see in there, as there are some components of the design where what we do with the building, we should address early on. So I'll be asking for some more feedback at a future meeting. Excitingly, we're kicking off collective bargaining this week. All 7 of the contracts under the town manager's authority are up for renewal this year, including all of our general government, public safety, and public works contracts. We've established an extremely aggressive timeline with the hopes of settling all of these contracts by the middle of March. And our plan is to negotiate 2 at a time, and we're hoping to settle them in 3 meetings or less. So we'll provide regular updates to the board in executive session, but that process has begun. The Board of Health has been awarded an additional $166,000 to the Public Health Excellence Grant Program. That's for the Regional Health Collaborative that Tyngsborough serves as the lead community for. We were originally awarded $300,000 for this fiscal year. The group, which is made up of several nearby communities, is looking at using that funding to expand services that they're currently offering and also to bring on board a health specialist, which is something that other public health excellence communities have done. A reminder to folks listening at home that we have several vacancies on various boards and committees. We need resident volunteers to fill positions on Conservation Commission, Council on Aging, Commission on Disability, and more. You can learn more about these opportunities by visiting the Boards and Committees tab on tyngsboroughma.gov. And finally, I will be on WCAP tomorrow morning talking about all the great things happening in Tyngsborough beginning at 8 a.m., so feel free to tune in, hopefully.
So, who authored? No, I'm just kidding.
Times have changed.
Yeah, I was going to say. So before we get into the assistant town manager's update, any questions for Colin, comments?
No.
I'm sure that there's a lot of stuff that's on there. So I'm glad to see that a lot of things are moving.
Mr. Chair, I just have one
Yes.
question of clarity. The renovation project for Winslow, the 1.5 million, that's strictly, remind me or in the
Sure.
town what we're doing with that?
Yes, that's the 1.5 million approved in May by town meeting to remove the additions to the Winslow School, keeping just the original school building, renovating the exterior shell, and moving it forward on the parcel to open up more room on the back side of the building. And that 1.5 is inclusive of the design costs and the site work that's related with it.
And the site work to shore up any of the grounds or hill,
In the front, yes.
about behind it too, though, maybe?
Yeah, yes.
Just clarifying. Thank you.
And to further clarify, the area where the Littlefield Library is, we're still carving that out so that that can't be touched, right? Because we've got to deal
Correct.
with that
Yes.
separate issue. So it's important for people to know, we're not moving the building yet. We're doing the design so we can put it out to bid to see if we can get it done within the 1.5 million.
Correct.
Thank you.
Other questions? Comments? All right, Kat.
All right.
Thank you.
Related to the Winslow School, I wanted to provide an update on the abatement project. To date, we've entered into a contract with our abatement contractor, Green Environmental, and the Environmental Project Monitor as required by DEP regulations. We are currently waiting for the abatement contractor to submit their submittal package for review by staff and our project designer, Peer Consultants. In addition, we are waiting for the state to approve a non-traditional work plan regarding the black material on the fieldstone and on the asphalt for asbestos abatement work practices, as well as asbestos roofing cement on the copper lead trim above the wood at the roof elevation. The project will provide inspection and ambient area air testing in accordance with applicable state and federal regulations, in addition to the abatement work plan. We hope to have a firm schedule to report once the state issues their approval on the work plan, hopefully within the week. Work on the police station HVAC system began last Thursday, December 7th. Work is expected to be completed well before the end of the month. Staff plan to go out to bid for a second phase of the recreation center located off Sherburne Ave and Pawtucket Boulevard in the spring. The pavilion, however, will be procured separately this winter, ideally. And staff have started looking at options for future green community grants and exploring issuing an RFP for solar, at least at Town Hall. And capital requests were due on November 30th. We received 12 requests totaling 1.6 million initially. Staff are in the process of reviewing these requests before presenting a preliminary list to the Capital Asset Management Committee at a future meeting.
Of which we have one Wednesday. Questions on those items?
Quick question, Mr.
Please.
Chair. The non-traditional work plan, have you heard anything from the state? We never know how long it's going to take from the state. Does this look like this is a short term, or we have no idea how long it's going to take to do?
I believe they told us within 2 weeks it should the turnaround
Okay.
would be. Could be a little longer. We are waiting. We're in communication with our the abatement contractor. We've been checking in pretty regularly.
Okay.
At this point, I anticipate to be hearing probably by the end of the week.
Oh, great,
whether that got approved or
great.
not.
Thanks for the update.
Any other questions, comments? Thanks, as always, for the updates. I think this is helpful and great to see this out on social media for residents, that they can refer to that. I think it's good for them. This is kind of probably the most important part of the meeting oftentimes, is that's where it's like, oh, you find out what's actually going on. So I encourage people to, if they miss that, it will be available online as a separate item, so they can just focus in on that. But you feel free, if you'd like, to watch the entire meeting, because we do have a lot of important stuff going on.